Portions of this film deal with difficult and dangerous cutting situations and chainsaw starting techniques that should not be tried by any non-professional cutter, nor anyone who has not had specific training for these exact methods. Before operating your chainsaw, read and follow all safety precautions and warnings in your Stihl Owner's Manual or Safety Manual. Improper use can cause serious or fatal injury. Avoid contact of bar tip with any object. This can cause the bar to kick suddenly up and back, which may result in serious or fatal injury. Always use 2 hands to operate the saw. Logging timber is hard, honest work, a profession that provides a vital resource for all of us, and one that brings great satisfaction to those who choose it as a career. The first portable gasoline-powered chainsaw by Andreas Stihl gave the professional timber cutter greater mobility and power in his work, but with it also came risks of injury from this powerful tool. In Sweden, where licensed loggers must serve a 2-year apprenticeship, a professional named Soren Eriksson pioneered the development of an entirely new approach to timber cutting. Today, Eriksson and his methods are known and practiced throughout the world. Eriksson's method is centered around efficiency, from the protective clothing and equipment he uses to the careful analysis and planning he applies in his cutting techniques. Perhaps the area in which the greatest amount of planning and analysis is required is in the bucking of a felled tree into log lengths. The best way to begin that planning is by following some general common sense rules.
When you cut on a hillside like this, you must always see to it that you get good footing before you start up your chainsaw. I like to make a plan first. In this case here, I want to get rid of the undergrowth here. And the next thing, this tree should be felled in this direction. I definitely don't like to stay on the lower side when the tree goes. So I make my face cut from the comfortable position here. But after that, I go on the upper side when I do my back cut. So I'm protected from the tree here. See the cut I did here. I did my face cut here, borrowed the bar through, left the hinge cut up so I have a safety piece here from a nice position. After that I walk up here in a safer place and release the tree.
When bucking on a hillside, be sure of your footing and cut from the uphill side. Always take the time to study the position of the fallen tree and consider the forces and stresses acting on it. Contact with standing trees, fallen trees, stumps, and changing terrain all affect the stress in a tree and produce a condition known as a bind. There are several kinds of bind, and each one requires a special approach to avoid pinched bars, kickback, and the springing back of limbs or logs toward the operator. These can cause loss of control of the saw and severe or fatal injury.
Here we have a tree that has a heavy weight in the top. When I back this tree here now, so don't split it, I like to use an under and over back. So I will cut from below here up to the middle, and after that the rest from the top.
Bottom bind occurs when a tree is partially suspended in the air. Here, the top part of the tree is under tension, while the bottom is compressed.
This birch tree here has a position as to when I back that, it can roll either this direction or the other one. So I will be using a special technique here. I like to take the tree down to the ground before I release that. But first I have to measure.
Top bind is the exact opposite condition. Here, the middle section of the tree is suspended, and the compression and tension forces are reversed.
What I will do here now, like when I do felling of a tree, I make a small face cut. So the piece I cut away here now, it looks exactly like the piece I cut when I felled the tree. Now I will leave exactly the same hinge also. And I leave a thick hinge, so the tree slowly goes down under full control. See, in this case, you can always keep the control. You see that tree are going slowly down to the ground. So long time you keep the hinge. So now, when it is on the ground here, I just cut the hinge off. And that finishes the backing. Here we have a situation where a big log are laying over the butts of a tree here. The other tree goes out there. One top are laying over here. That means that this tree is in bend. Here I should like to show a technique and take this tree down slowly so I don't get any surprise. That means that will be a cut 1/3 up here. I move my chainsaw back 2 to 3 inches here and I cut from the top. It open up this other cut. This top slowly start to go down. See the first cut under there now. When the second cut comes 3-4 inches behind that, it started to crack in the other tree, but nothing could happen more than that top slowly went down and let my chainsaw lay free there.
Another bind commonly encountered is called side bind. This type of bind occurs when a fallen tree is pressed at several points, such as by contact with standing trees or stumps.
This is a situation that caused too many accidents. Broken legs, some examples. The guy are not looking carefully enough and just walk up here and buck it. And what happens, it tree straights itself out and it goes fast and it hits your leg and there it is. To buck this tree here, first of all, really take a look on it. And you can see the bend here now. Yeah? To release that, you never stay on this side. You always stay on the other side. So you see, when I move over here now, whatever happens, I'm protected. But I want this thing to happen slowly. So I will be cutting a little face cut here, and after that, back slowly there. If I back fast, everything happens fast. I want to have control over it. See, just because of the small face cut I first made here, and after that, slowly start to cut. The same way as when you fell a tree. It's exactly the same system. But here, cut slowly. Remember that, because that means that the tree reacts slow. This is what we call a springboard. That is something you should never touch if it isn't necessary. But if you have to do it, the point to cut is just in the bend here. What you create if you cut in the bend here is just as this part of the tree start to move up in the position it was from the beginning. That bend here start to straight out. But before you do anything, take a look on how the top is bent and what is over it, and so you absolutely can see what happens when you start to cut. In this particular case, I like to go over on this side here, and I estimate that I have the middle here. So I just take my chain and I cut in the middle here. But I cut very slowly to give the tree a chance to slowly straight up. Delimbing on hardwood trees, I should like to say, is a type of bucking all the time. Each branch is in different bend. A hardwood tree is very often crooked, and when it hits the ground, it bends and twists. A branch like this, some examples, I can't see exact, so I will start cutting here to figure out that branch before I cut it loose here. If I can plan what I'm doing, I will not do it. So let's see what happens. This tree starts to go together here now, but I couldn't see if it was any twist in it because it's too narrow. So I will move up and cut a half foot further up so I can handle a twist. So what happens on my first cut here, I cut on it, that twist the tree here. I didn't know how much twist it was, and you never know before it's too late if you don't feel it out. You saw my back here, it wasn't enough for twist. If it's enough for twist here, it just split the fiber sideways, and I don't get stopped.
Many times, the bind forces in a tree are obvious and can be easily dealt with, but often they're subtle and require a practiced eye to detect. Whatever the case, always remain alert. Keep your chainsaw in good running condition and keep safety first in your mind. Be especially sure to follow the safety precautions in your chainsaw owner's manual. Steel Chainsaws has presented this demonstration of bucking techniques as part of its continuing effort to promote more efficient and safe logging practices throughout the timber industry. Warning: portions of this film deal with difficult and dangerous cutting situations and chainsaw starting techniques that should not be tried by any non-professional cutter, nor anyone who has not had specific training for these exact methods.